President Trump's recent claim that he'll meet with Putin again has sparked a firestorm of debate. Is this a genuine attempt at peace, or something more strategic at play? He claims great progress was made during a recent call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, hinting at face-to-face talks in Hungary. According to reports, this phone call, the first since mid-August, was very productive, and teams from both Washington and Moscow are slated to meet in the coming days. Trump hasn't yet nailed down a date for the potential summit in Budapest, but the Kremlin has stated work on arranging it will begin immediately following what they described as an extremely frank and trustful conversation. And this is the part most people miss. This call happened just a day before Ukrainian President Zelensky was scheduled to visit the White House. It also comes as Trump is reportedly considering arming Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles, capable of striking deep within Russia. Talk about timing. Zelensky, as he arrived in the U.S., made a pointed observation, suggesting Moscow was rushing to resume dialogue as soon as it hears about Tomahawks. Trump took to his Truth Social platform after the call, stating that he and Putin spent a great deal of time talking about trade between Russia and the United States when the war with Ukraine is over. He also mentioned that high-level advisors from both countries would convene next week at an unspecified location, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio leading the American delegation. There are rumors it could be in Vienna, but that is unconfirmed at this time. Trump also promised to update Zelensky on his discussions with Putin, expressing his belief that great progress was made with today's telephone conversation. He later told reporters he anticipated meeting Putin within 2 weeks. But here's where it gets controversial. When asked about providing Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles after his conversation with Putin, Trump hedged, stating, "We can't deplete the U.S. stockpile of Tomahawks," adding, "We need them too. So I don't know what we can do about that." This raises the question, is Trump genuinely committed to supporting Ukraine, or are his priorities elsewhere? Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S., Olga Stefanishina, didn't mince words, pointing out that Russia launched overnight strikes on Ukraine hours before Putin's call with Trump, which she argued exposes Moscow's real attitude toward peace. In a statement to CBS, she added, "These assaults show that Moscow's strategy is one of terror and exhaustion. The only effective response is pressure, through tougher sanctions, reinforced air defense, and the supply of long-range capabilities." This sentiment highlights the deep distrust and ongoing conflict. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán celebrated the planned Budapest meeting on X, calling it great news for the peace-loving people of the world. He further emphasized, peace requires patience, strength, and humility. Europe must shift its stance. Instead of arrogance and fanning the flames of endless war, we need negotiations with Russia. Only dialogue can bring peace to our continent. Trump has seemingly adopted a tougher stance towards Putin regarding the Ukraine war since a face-to-face summit in Alaska in August failed to yield a decisive breakthrough in peace negotiations. That meeting, held on U.S. soil on August 15th, was intended to persuade Putin to engage in comprehensive peace talks to end the Ukraine war, which began with Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. Remember, the war began after years of simmering conflict following Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014. Their past interactions include a phone call days later, when Trump interrupted a meeting with Zelensky and European leaders to call Putin. Since then, there have been no publicly confirmed communications between the two, at least not by the White House or Kremlin. During his presidential campaign, Trump claimed he could end the war in Ukraine within days. However, he's since acknowledged that resolving the conflict has been more challenging than anticipated. He was initially perceived as more sympathetic to Russia than his predecessor, Joe Biden, and his relationship with Zelensky faced strain, particularly during a televised Oval Office meeting where he and Vice President J.D. Vance criticized the Ukrainian president. However, public relations with Zelensky have improved recently. In September, Trump signaled a significant shift, expressing his belief that Kyiv could win all of Ukraine back in its original form, a stark contrast to his earlier suggestions that Kyiv should cede territory occupied by Russia. During Zelensky's upcoming visit to Washington, his third since January, the discussion of Tomahawk missiles will likely be prominent. Zelensky has explicitly requested these advanced missiles, which boast a range of 2,500 kilometers, 1,500 miles. Trump, when asked about providing them, responded with a vague, "We'll see, I may." Back in late July, Trump set a deadline for Putin to agree to a ceasefire or face sweeping sanctions, including measures against countries still trading with Russia. However, he didn't follow through after Putin agreed to the Alaska meeting, which Trump initially hailed as a diplomatic victory, despite its lack of tangible results. Adding another layer of complexity, India's foreign ministry recently refuted Trump's claim that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi had agreed to halt Russian oil purchases. An Indian government spokesman stated he was not aware of any conversation between the two leaders taking place the previous day, after Trump claimed Modi assured him purchases would stop within a short period of time. The U.S. has been actively urging countries, including India, China, and NATO members, to cease buying Russian energy to intensify economic pressure on the Kremlin. Zelensky has consistently echoed these calls. So what are we to make of all this? Is Trump genuinely seeking a path to peace, or is there a larger gain at play? Does his renewed engagement with Putin signal a shift in U.S. foreign policy, and what impact will it have on Ukraine's future? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below.